Did you know there are 27 million people trafficked as slaves around the world today?
Did you know approximately 10,000 women and girls will be taken to Dallas for the Super Bowl as sex slaves?
Did you know traffickers use force, fraud, or coercion to enslave victims of labor and sex trafficking?
Did you know the average cost of a slave today is $90?
Did you know at least 300,000 American children are being trafficked for prostitution in the United States?
I never really knew much about the topic of human trafficking, and the first exposure I've ever really had to anything about it was when I saw the movie Taken, which the plot is about human trafficking. This movie definitely made me interested in the topic. The next I had heard about human trafficking was when my boyfriend, a criminology major, told me that he witnessed a court sentencing of a woman who committed human trafficking of minors. This really got to me because when you see a movie about it, it seems so foreign, but when I heard that someone was committing this disgusting crime right here in the state of Maryland, it really hit close to home. I had to find out more about this topic.
I have to be honest, until 6 months ago, I really didn't pay much attention to sex trafficking and how awful it was, until I watched the movie Taken. As I sat there watching my greatest fear come to life in these innocent girls' lives, my heart became heavy. Yet it was only a movie, but sex trafficking isn't. That same week, a friend from a campus ministry here at Maryland was hosting a stand at Stamp to raise awareness about sex trafficking. As I listened to him explain the horrid life these girls are put through daily as sex slaves, I was appalled. But I was even more appalled that I was so unaware and not helping, which is why I wanted to do this for my project.
After my boyfriend Ruben told me about the court sentencing about the woman who committed sex trafficking, I decided to interview him so that I can learn a little more about the topic. Here are a few excerpts from the interview. Tell me a little bit about what this woman was accused of.
She was accused of drug and sex trafficking of minors.
How did her and her lawyers try to defend her in court?
They claim that because this was her first offense and because over the past 3 years since she got caught, she had been seeking professional help, that she should not be severely punished.
How did you feel sitting in that courtroom?
I felt completely out of place there. The courtroom was filled with lawyers, the judge, the defendant's loved ones, and then a bunch of criminology and criminal justice students. It was hard to watch someone get sentenced right in front of me, but on the other hand, it was sort of difficult to feel bad for her because of the severity of the crime.
What was the result of the sentencing?
She received 15 months in prison.
After I learned more about this specific case, I had to go with him to the next court sentencing he was going to because I had to see what one of these was like. The one we went to together was the sentencing of a man and his son who were fishermen as their profession in the Potomac River, and they were accused of fishing more than one person is allowed to fish. The result of this sentencing was that the father was going to receive 10 months of jail time, and the son was going to receive 8 months of jail time. When I heard this, I was in shock. A woman who committed sex and drug trafficking of minors, which in my opinion, and I would hope in a lot of people's opinions, is a lot more severe than fishing too many fish, received 15 months of jail time, while the fisherman who fished too much was only receiving 5 less months than this woman. This made me really angry, and after this, I felt like I had to find out what I can do to help raise awareness about sex trafficking and how else I could help.
Once I decided I wanted to do my project on sex trafficking, I began by finding out more information about it and researching as much as I could. I told a few friends about what I was doing, and one of them recommended reading the book Just Courage by Gary Haugen. This book was about the Ministry International Justice Mission that works in other countries as lawyers and detectives to find these sex slaves and free them. From that moment on, I wanted to know more about International Justice Mission, so I went to a conference they held right here on campus. At this conference, they explained what International Justice Mission does and how we can help. They shared heartbreaking stories from children they saved from sex trafficking. I soaked up everything they said at that conference and took every pamphlet available. That book and conference led me in the right direction to be able to help others. I now have a clearer picture of how I can help those who are living as sex slaves and a better understanding of how horrible sex trafficking truly is. I wanted to share a story that I heard at the International Justice Mission conference of a girl who was sold as a sex slave but was freed by the International Justice Mission. Her name was Manna. Manna lived with her brother and was beaten by him on several occasions. When she was 14, she decided to run away, and that it was her best option. Passing through the clutter and the scuffle of a train station, a young woman noticed Manna, crying, and offered to help. She listened to Manna and won her trust. Promising a job selling fabric, the woman led Manna to a place to rest and slept beside her for the first night. But when Manna awoke, the woman was no longer there, and another woman had come and warned her that her life was no longer her own. She would not sell fabric, but her body. Manna refused her first 3 customers, but the brothel keeper pulled her hair out and punched her and beat her repeatedly until she gave in to the man who had come to rape her. She tried to run away and even begged the men who raped her to rescue her or call the police. The nightmare continued for 2 years until another girl whom the International Justice Mission had rescued led International Justice Mission operators back to rescue more girls, hidden in a soundproof dungeon. Manna was one of 4 young girls rescued from that dark place. She now lives in the freedom of an aftercare home that provides love, safety, and schooling, where she studies to become a social worker. The International Justice Mission helped build a case against her brothel keepers. They were both convicted and sentenced in 2004 to 5 years of rigorous imprisonment. With a smile that filled the room like sunlight, Manna said, "I came to a prison, but I am not alone. God took me from that place to here."
Throughout these learning experiences, we realized that learning needs to be proactive. We realized that learning truly is an experience. In the future, we will teach our students that learning does not just exist in the classroom. We want to encourage them to go out and learn through experiences and not just textbooks.
We decided that when we assign our students projects that involve research, we no longer want them to just look up facts on the internet and relay those facts back in a paper. We want them to broaden their field of research by going out into the world as much as they are able. We have gained so much through this learning experience, and we want our students to be able to have the same type of experiences that we did.
Through this learning experience, we learned that there are actual ways we can help the victims of sex trafficking. The first thing we could do is consider an internship at the International Justice Mission in Washington, D.C.
We can also throw a fundraiser to raise money to support organizations like International Justice Mission and to also raise awareness.
We can donate money by becoming a Freedom Partner. It is a program that enables you to invest specifically in the region or casework most meaningful to you. Being a Freedom Partner means you direct your monthly investment of $25 or more to the region or casework area where your passion lies.
Lastly, now that we have gone through this process, we are able to raise awareness on our campus. If people don't know there is a problem, they can't do anything to solve it. We can educate ourselves and others about oppression in the world. It is crucial to actually making a difference in the fight against injustice. Knowledge is the first step towards making a difference and taking action. By raising awareness, you can be a voice for the voiceless.
The Human Wrong Initiative is a movement of students united to unleash our collective voice to right this human wrong and end child slavery. Lift your head, raise your hands, and unleash your voice together as we fight to end child slavery.